Welcome to the show, and welcome to Glow So Bright. So, free-floated handguards are now becoming more and more popular for firearms, and especially AR-15s. Yet, for many police trade-in rifles, many military standard rifles, as well as AR-15s since AR-15s were invented, a lot of them still sport non-free-floated handguards, such as this Eagle Arms 223 Wild Carbine over here, in which we have a front handguard retaining cap and a slip ring, a spring-loaded slip ring. In between that, we have two halves of plastic handguard. Now, what are the drawbacks of this particular system? Let's go find out with some real-life shooting with this particular carbine over here from various different shooting positions. Okay, so we're at 100 yards away from the target, and for each shooting, I'll do a string of 5 shots using PMC bronze, 223 Remington, 55 grain, full metal jacket ammunition. I'll be shooting in different shooting positions, which would impact the handguard differently. The first string of 5 shots, I'll be using a mag well as a monopod and have my hand either be on the rear of the buttstock or in the magazine well. That way there would be no sort of impact or change affecting the barrel or the handguard. All right, round's complete. Let's take a look down range. Okay, here are our results. What do we do with just using the magazine as a monopod and having no sort of impact or change on the handguard or the barrel? Well, we have a 4.5-inch group over here, and it's within a paper within acceptable limits for accuracy for the M16A4 rifle for the Marine Corps. Army Marksmanship unit accuracy for this, maybe not so good, but this is my results with this rifle, and otherwise everything is just extremely basic, phosphated. I don't think this is even a chrome line barrel or nitride barrel. A blemish, primary arms 126 powered second focal plane scope, and everything else is just incredibly stock and basic. I don't even like the stock, but so far I'm getting acceptable results out of it. And let's see what happens when we do other things to the rifle to impact the handguard. Okay, we're gonna go shoot from our second shooting position, which is going to be a prone supported position with front and rear bags, where the handguard is supported at the center of it. So about 4 inches forward from the upper receiver and barrel nut. Let's do 5 more shots. Round's complete. 5 shots expended. Let's take a look downrange. What did our target look like after shooting from the prone supported position using a front and rear bagged rest? Well, take a look over here. our point of aim is, of course, the same using the orange dot as a center, but our point of impact, incredibly similar to our first shot grouping, yet significantly tighter. This particular shooting position, the prone supported, is significantly more stable, therefore facilitating better precision. And so far I'm getting a roughly 4-inch group, which makes sense. Okay, enough about me talking about this. Let's go back and shoot from a different shooting position. Okay, so we loaded a 5-round magazine into the rifle, and we're going to go change shooting positions. We're going to go shoot from the a prone supported position, but have the rest and support be further out from the upper receiver and barrel nut. So it'll be resting on the front of the handguard or resting underneath the gas block. Also, the rear rest has been removed. So any sort of downward pressure or pressure on the firearm would either be done from the rest, as well as me using my hand to help further brace and support the rifle, as well as my firing hand holding the rifle. So let's go shoot from that position. Round's complete. Let's take a look. How did we do? Well, resting the rifle underneath the front sight base and putting more pressure on it has resulted in a severe and serious point of impact shift, where 3 of our rounds have gone off target to the left side. And for what we do have that did group, we have some noticeable vertical stringing, about 4.5 inches in that recorded group. However, for the other 2 shots, I don't know where they're at. So what is the true accuracy or point of impact and spread of this rifle? I don't know. And we have the entire vertical string be 7.5 inches away from the center of our target, our point of aim. So even with just some pressure over here and extending it to about half the length of the handguard, no, half the length of the barrel, that has some severe problems and consequences for accuracy. Let's go do our final shooting position after this. Okay, so we have our final shooting position, and it's going to be our worst possible one to do. This is a fairly common error among soldiers, and it could be a deficiency or gap in terms of training, but I don't know what the current marksmanship doctrine is beyond 2016 TC 3229. Let's take a look at what we can do that would make this really bad. So 5-round magazine in the rifle, and we're going to go rest our barrel directly on our support. And this would be the worst thing ever, as we have the furthest distance as we can from the barrel nut and upper receiver, and we don't have any handguard or anything to do that, and we're going to go put as much weight as we could on the barrel. Let's try it out. Round's complete. Let's take a look at our target. Okay, so how do we do after resting our barrel directly on our support? Quite badly. There are no noticeable hits on the target, and it has veered off somewhere else where I don't even know where it is. I can't really tell. I was too target focused and zoomed in through the magnified optic, and yeah, it's something I would not recommend doing, and I suggest you avoid doing it all. So what can you learn from this? You got to be very careful on how pressure on a handguard of a non-free floated handguard impacts your point of impact. With very light pressure, just enough to have a stable shooting position would be enough to have perfectly acceptable accuracy and precision. But as soon as more pressure is put on the handguard and the further away from the upper receiver or barrel nut it goes, it gets dramatically worse. Especially disrupting barrel harmonics and having the barrel be rested on top of the support. Now, does that mean you should just immediately go and change your handguard to that of a free-floated one? Not necessarily, until the barrel wears out and that needs to be replaced. Then it might be a good idea to have that be replaced with a free-floated handguard. But also keep in mind is that when rebarreling an AR-15, unless the barrel itself has already been pre-populated with a front sight base assembly, which includes the gas block, the taper pins, the front sight post, the front sight spring, and the front sight detent. Doing it through a stripped barrel that doesn't have that pre-populated, I'd say it's not really economically worth it unless you're trying to do a clone build or something like that, but we're not really talking about those for this sort of application. Another thing is that a extremely similar test is done by the United States Army Reserve Marksmanship Unit, in which a very similar grouping and testing parameters were done using a marksman soldier with a standard off-the-rack M16A4 rifle with an ACOG on it, a 4-powered magnified scope, a fixed magnified prism optic, and the results are quite similar to what I have over here, comparing this ordinary Eagle Arms by Armalite, basically in forgery, to that of his M16A4 rifle. And the noticeable point of impact changes are noticeable with that sort of target. So, that is something to keep in mind with these sorts of rifles over here that do not have a free-floated rail. And with the military's conclusion, one thing I don't necessarily understand is the continued use. I mean, it's inexpensive, it's already in inventory, why not? But for the further use of the standard drop-in quad rail with a standard non-free-floated carbine handguard system on a standard issue U.S. Army rifle, which is sometimes called Block 1 or Block 1.5 or the M4 modular weapon system or M4 SOP mod. Especially when other types of rail systems are out there already in inventory. For example, the SOP Mod 2 program featuring the Daniel Defense RIS-2, as well as its successor, the URGI Geisley rail, or the URGI Upper Receiver Group Improved, featuring that sort of handguard. With these already in inventory, why not phase that in as a standard issue rifle instead of trying to go into another different rifle? But now I'm rambling, now I'm getting off topic. So, if you do enjoy this video, give it a like and a thumbs up. If you don't, dislike it, give it a thumbs down. Read the video description for my Ko-fi and Amazon affiliate links, which will help the channel. And leave a comment down below. If you don't have anything to say, put down Among Us or Skibbity Toilet or something like that. It doesn't really matter what, but just help push these videos like this away from slop and other garbage that filters and clogs up the algorithm. I really mean it. And another way to help show your support that really means a lot is to subscribe to the channel and see more content just like this and share it. share it to other people. This video is brought to you by Glow So Bright on non-free floated handguards on rifles. Thank you very much for watching.